Alright guys, I'm going to try to make this quick and simple and to the point. Basically what I wanted to do was, just like a lot of you guys out there, I want to turn this Hero 9 into a naked GoPro for my 3-inch Cinewhoop. I had this one at work. I actually had two at work. One had broken the screen, totally shattered it. GoPro was fine. And then I had another one where the screen was fine, but the SD card just stopped working and wouldn't record to it anymore, wouldn't format. There was an issue going on. So I wanted to take the good screen off of that one and put it onto the one that works fine. And I went online looking for some videos on how to do that and came across the one I'm sure you've all seen before. I'll leave a link to it in the below. It's a good video. This guy takes apart the GoPro, but he goes about it but cutting off all along here and cutting into here and to get the lens loose and, you know, taking out a bunch of stuff. And I am not that handy. I'm not good at stuff like that. So I wanted to try to figure out a different way to do that, and but without breaking the screen. So with the one with the broken screen, one I was mentioning earlier, I practiced just trying to get in there and just kind of like prying it around, and by doing that I did get in there and I was able to lift the screen off from the back here, but by doing so, by prying it, I ended up cracking the screen more, which I'm glad I tried out before I came to this one that actually has a good screen. So what I came up with was I took my hot air gun, and basically what I did was I went ahead and heated up the corners like this. I heated up each corner, and every corner I heated up really good. And then I took this saw here, this guy here, because I knew there had to be glue in there holding that down and keeping it watertight. So I went ahead with this saw here, and I basically just cut into, imagine this like this. Of course this one already did. I started doing this when I stopped to sell. Well, maybe I'll make a video and maybe help somebody out there. So what I did was I ended up cutting this on each corner like this. I'd heat it up with the heat gun, and then I just cut into each corner until the blade was until the blade disappeared, basically. So went in, did this, did it on each corner, and then once I had each corner in about a ½ inch or so like this, I started taking this saw and I just started kind of slowly going in like this until I got where the blade just disappeared like that. I did the same thing here. I'd start here, came around, came all the way down, disappear, blah blah blah, you get the picture, all the way around. And basically once I did that, I went about as deep as the liner of this screen, and as you can see, there's nothing you're going to get into there. You're not going to damage anything other than the casing, of course, which you already know that's going to be the situation anyway. So I went in, I cut in all the way around. You could do this with the Dremel, with anything. I just find it's much easier than cutting through the front here and then chipping away, taking little pliers and chipping away. There's just no need to do all that. There really isn't. So I just went in, cut in all this, cut all this around here like that. And once I did that, and heating it up was almost like cutting into butter. It was maybe not that easy, but it was pretty simple. Went and cut, and then just kept heating, heating. And I tell you, the process maybe took me 10 minutes tops. Very easy to do, and it just popped right off just like that. Now you're going to have these cables here. These cables will be attached to this here, which is attached to the battery tray, but those just pop right off just like anything else. I just pop those off, and boom, I got my screen that I can put on my other GoPro that actually works. So once you do that, keep that aside, keep that very safe. It's the only one I have. After this, the process is pretty easy. I went ahead, you're going to have a screw inside of here, a screw inside of here, and you're going to have this little guy here. So you can take this one out here, go in and get this guy here, and had a little trouble with that screw. Once you get that screw out, I'm just going to pop this tray out, Now you can see in here, you're going to have the battery cables attached in there. So we're just going to pop that off here. Like that. And that should just lift right out. And there's your battery tray right there. All good to go. This stuff here, I'm not really sure what this is for. I just went ahead and peeled it off. I'm not a technical guy. I'm not sure what all that's for. Anyway, and then inside here, you're going to see there's all these little screws. I just went ahead, just take all these guys out. I'm not trying to save anything here because I don't plan on putting this back together in the future. So I'm not trying to be careful about what I do with these screws. I just want to get them out of here. And once you get all the screws out of there, there's this little plastic piece right here behind the camera. Just pull that out. You're going to need to take that out because we're going to need to get to a screw that is actually holding the lens on, which is going to be underneath. If you can see it, it's going to be underneath this ribbon cable right here. This ribbon cable going to the motherboard from the camera. You're going to have to take that off because there is going to be a screw. It's a little tough to get to, but it's much easier to get to than cutting all this off, chipping all this away, and breaking off the plastic pieces that are holding on this screw. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit and get through to there, and I'll stop once I get there. You're going to be very careful when pulling these cables off. Just give them a little tug. They don't take much. Just going to pull these off here. I'm going to pull this one off here. This one goes to the screen in the front. And unclip that one. Once you unclip this one, once you unclip those two, you can take this out. This is our USB connector here. Just get a few wiggles here and there. This will end up, there's no screws holding this in, it's just popped in here. So we'll go ahead and get a little bit, take that out, save that, you might need that. And then once we get all that there, once you take that one out, there's going to be one more of the motherboard screws down here that's going to be underneath it. So we'll want to get that guy out as well. I'm going to pull that one out. And I think that's all of them. Now, next step is we want to get this lens out of here. And the first one I did, I was able to get the board out with the lens in here. It was really, really tricky. This is actually my third GoPro that I'm transforming over right now. So I learned a little bit along the way. But anyway, I find it easier, obviously, to take this camera out. The first one, I could not figure out how to get it out. So I ended up, I did chip away a little bit inside there, but then I ended up ruining there's these little plastic joints that the screws go into that hold the camera in place. And I realized once I got the 3D mount, I had no way of holding that camera on there. So I ended up ruining the tray on that. Luckily though, I had another GoPro I could just steal the lens from. But we're gonna go ahead, but then I found this way was easier. Just take these out here, get the right size on there. Let's do this. And these are really small screws. This one's the easiest. Just take that one out here. Now there's one more. For some reason, I don't know why they did this, but there's a silver one here that you'll see, but then for some reason there's a black one. I don't know why it's black and why it's plastic, where this one is like a metal screw. This one is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little difficult to get to, but you can get to it. I had to drop this nut head in there first and then apply just a little bit to this because this barrel right here was too thick to get down in there. It wouldn't allow me to get in there, so I had to MacGyver it a little bit. I don't have the right tools. Like I said, I'm not really good at this kind of stuff. But you can't see it on camera, but trust me, there's like a little black plastic screw in there that is also holding this lens on. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit again to get this in there, but you got to get that screw out of there, so bear with me, I'll be right back. Alright, so basically I had to kind of like by hand put that on there, just enough on there like that, and I was able to get this on here just enough, and then I can unscrew that. I can't get that without in there just like that. Alright, there it is right there. See, it's just like this little tiny plastic screw. I don't know why they did that, but anyway, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a pain to get into, but it's much easier to get that in there and take that out than it is to go in, take this off, cut all the way around there with those clippers, and break all of the holes that the screws are holding into. Now once you do that, we're going to take this ribbon cable here very carefully. We want to bring this up. It takes a few tries. I probably should grab my tweezers, be a lot easier. Hold on, I'll be right back and grab a different tool. Got a better tool for the job here. So we're just going to very carefully lift this ribbon cable up. Don't be too stressful on it. You need that cable. Don't want to break it. So basically, the third screw that is holding the lens is just under this cable. It's going to be right in there. And fortunately enough, it's kind of on an angle for you to get to. So, that being said, we're just going to reach in there with the tool and we're just going to screw that on out of there. You can't really quite see it, but trust me, it's kind of on an angle. It's nice that they did that. And I just reach in here. Sorry, got the wrong one here. Bear with me, this is not my first trick, guys. Alright, so I'm going to reach in here and just unscrew that there like that. And there we go, it's that easy. And there it is, just pull that out there. And that'll give us free access to the lens. So we'll just give that a little bit of a wiggle. And boom, our lens comes out just like that. Nice and easy. Just like that. No need to go in, because I'm going to see what I was talking about before was, see these clips here? The first time I did this, I ended up going through the front. And I ended up just clipping those away. And now I had no way of attaching this to a 3D case. So now that I figured this out, I have these now in perfect condition to go ahead and put on my 3D case when I'm ready to do so. And that is that much easier. Now the only thing you got to do is get this motherboard out, which is quite easy. It just takes a little bit of poking around. Just disconnect all of these cables here. We don't need any of these cables. You don't need any of them. I'd be careful and don't break them, because I found that I did need to power to put the firmware that I needed on there and stuff like that. I needed to be able to power it up and stuff like that. I don't care about the speaker wires. I'm not doing this. You don't need any of this stuff when you're updating it or anything you do. You'll need none of this. You don't have to take any of this off. You don't take any of that off. I even was able to save my front screen. Once you get this off, it's very easy to get to the front screen. All you have to do, I'll show you in a second, but let's just fast forward. This takes a little bit of wiggling around, but this board does come out. So we're just gonna, I'll cut back to this once I get this out, but basically you just lift all these tabs, take off the speaker wires, and then just give it a little, make sure all the screws, I don't think there's any more hidden screws in there. There's one more right there, so I'll take that one out right there, and then just poke, and it'll eventually just pop itself out. Alright, we'll be back once I get that out. Alright, so I just want to give you halfway through. As you can see, it's very loose. Once I take all the screws out, there was one more screw right here. Once you get that out, you can see it's very loose. The only thing that's holding it in now are these cables every once in a while. So I just poke and pry a little bit. These cables getting away a little bit, but I just very gently just keep doing this, and eventually you end up getting it out. Alright, I'll be right back once it's out. Alright, 2 minutes later, and as you can see, we just take out the board like that. It's that simple, and there we go. That is our board. We don't need any of this stuff in here. Unless you want that front screen, which you can do, you can take out this metal casing, this whole metal. Now you can get to these screws here. We'll take out all this, which has the GPS on it, record button and all that. But we can take, this does come out. There's only, I think there was like one screw holding this in somewhere up here, but the rest of it's just basically just pressed in there. And I access that by taking off the cover here, lens cover, and basically taking off this piece. Actually, you might not even have to do that. I took it off before. I think I can get in there. But yeah, you just stick in here and you just push down from in here, and this case will just pop off and gives you access to the front screen. Alright, so there you have it. That's easy as that. So I have my screen. I can still hook up my screen if I want to change settings if I want to. I've already put the app on there. I use the QR code app where you just point the camera at the code and it changes the settings for you. But yeah, just put this into a 3D print and hook it up to a BEC, a Vectroller. I'm going to get that from Pyrodrone, the Hero 9 case there. I don't have a 3D printer, so I can't use that, but yeah. But that, I just wanted to show you how much easier it can be to take out what you need to make a Hero Naked, Hero 9 Naked. So yeah, you don't need any of this stuff. I could put this back on here and just power it via USB very easily. You just pop that on there. Just, you know, do that, put that up there, or whatever, 3D print, whatever you want to do. Power it right through here. Get this on there, and then you're good to go. That was pretty easy, not that bad. Like I said, the hardest thing is just cutting around here, but once you heat that up, get that saw, just cut it just a little bit in there. It's very easy to do. That pops off, and you've seen how easy it was to take everything out without chipping it all away. And you can leave all that in there. You don't need to take any of that. You have to take all of that off. You don't have to take all this off. You don't have to cut into here. The only thing you do need to do is you need to take this off if you want to get to the screen. If you want to apply the screen into a 3D print. I'm not going to do that. I don't need it. It's just more weight that I don't want to worry about. But it can be done. You just take this off, and then you just, once you get in there, you can get underneath this metal bracket here, and basically this is just pressed on here. I think there's one screw somewhere holding it on. I don't remember. I took it off of my other one just to see if I could do it. It was very, very simple to do. Once you take this piece off here, take that off, you just go in there and just stick it, boom, 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 it just presses out. And then your screen is basically just in there, you just pop it off. And then it's got some weird stuff to it, like it's got like these, here, I'll be right back, I'll show you the screen, hold on. So here's that bracket I was talking about. I took this out of another GoPro. This one's still in here. So basically, you'll just pop that out, and it will come off. The screen won't come with it, which is really weird. This is kind of like a mirror on this. It's really weird. It's a mirror, and then you have your screen, which has these interesting layers. I'm not sure what these are or what they do, but I very carefully, this would be on the inside of this, obviously, and it would be in here. And it's just inside a very thin plastic rim. And I just took a really small screwdriver and I just very carefully, there's nothing holding this in, it's just between this metal bracket and this screen on the other GoPro. And I just popped it out and I just did this. So if I wanted to, when I get a 3D print, I could just, you know, plug this back in and just have it in the front if I wanted to. I don't think I'm going to. There's no need for it. It's not that heavy, but there's really no need for it. It's just one more thing to make a print for, to break, or I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna hang on to it in case I want to in the future, but that's not the goal of this. I basically just wanted to show you how easy it can be to take apart a GoPro Hero 9. It's not that hard, and be able to save. This was the most important thing I wanted to save, was these connection points on the lens, because I'm going to need those to connect to my 3D print. So like I said in the first one, I ended up breaking those, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to use that. So I'm glad I had another hero laying around. I was fortunate enough to have another broken one laying around that I was able to steal this out of and figure out how to do. Alright, well that's it for now. Yeah, hopefully this helps someone out. Again, I'll leave a link to the original video that gave me a good starting point to how to take this apart. But hopefully this can help you guys out that don't want to hack up all this or spend all that time just chipping away when there's really no need to. Alright guys, thanks a lot.